Christine, I think there's a video issue. Okay, well, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties on one side of the stream, but while Christine gets their video sorted, how's everyone doing? Welcome to Global Hack Week Day 4. Christine will be back in a moment, but I'm curious, what was your favorite thing yesterday? We have someone who just joined us from Finland, from the US. We've got our full worldwide crew ready for today in Global Hack Week. We love to see it. Welcome back, Christine.
Yes. Okay. Testing that things are working. Hello?
There you go.
Okay.
We're good.
Perfect.
We've got lots of folks from across the world here in the chat.
Good evening from India. Wow.
Got India, Finland, the US, around the world.
Quick disclaimer that I am getting a low internet connectivity issue, so if I ever go freeze, then that is why.
Alrighty. Well, we'll do our best to adapt. I'm sure you'll pop in, maybe some slides in the future. That's okay.
All right.
Looks like folks enjoyed the mini games yesterday.
Yes, the streams are recorded. They're up on our YouTube for future reference, evergreen. The Pokédex stream is midnight. Oh, yeah.
Got you. I'm pulling up a link. So for those of you who want to check out our streams after the fact to rewatch or to see something you've missed, check out our YouTube channel.
Some of you may be watching from the YouTube right now.
In the future.
You'll be able to access everything you had.
All right, cool. Let's carry on with meeting who we are. First up, there's me. I'm Cecilia. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking, use she, her pronouns, and I love reading. So if you have some book recs for me, feel free to drop those in the chat. I'm always looking for new content, and I really don't have a genre preference, but go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, my name is Christine. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm a hackathon community manager at Major League Hacking. Just some quick fun facts about myself are that my favorite animes are Fullmetal Alchemist, specifically Brotherhood and Madoka Magica. And speaking of reading, I also recently finished Joanna Hedva's Your Love Is Not Good. So on the theme of book recommendations, if anyone likes literary fiction, please hit me up with your recommendations.
Gonna go add that to my Goodreads.
For sure. All right, then let's start with a recap of what we did yesterday. It sounds like some people here might already be coming from there, but first off, we had we covered our API standards and protocols. Quick workshop there, led by Jocelyn. And yeah, I can't say that I can speak too technically here. So Cecilia, would you mind taking over for a sec?
Yeah, absolutely. So right off the bat, we've got a lovely diagram that I'm sure definitely help people understand. But think of APIs as a way to interact with other points on the internet that could get you more information than you already have, or maybe you want to update information from your end, like a login or a form. So it seems like Jocelyn went pretty in depth, or at least in a beginner-friendly way, to get you all onboarded for this week's API April.
Moving on to the next workshop from yesterday was that y'all made your first API requests for image classification, also led by Jocelyn, I believe.
Excellent. Classic. Can't go wrong with that. Lots of different types. Honestly, I would have to check out the stream to tell you more, but it looks like y'all did a lot. And not to be back in my day, but that used to take a long time to do any one of those individual things. And now it's just really quick. Snap your fingers. Happens instantaneously now. Really impressive.
Moving on to what is happening today, or what is on the schedule. If you ever want to look back at any of the events that I'm about to bring up, you can check those out at globalhackweek.emily.io/schedule. And yes, you can add these projects to your resume. First off, we have a fast, fun, and furious creating a trivia quiz API with Fast API, co-hosted by both Wei and Yashka. That's going to be in starting 2 p.m. ET, so a little bit under 2 hours from now. And this will be Yashka's first technical stream, so please come out to show your support there.
Then we have a snake game with Python with Booli. That is classic, both in that doing a snake game and making it with Python. I wonder if you'll end up using Pygame. That'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern at 1:30 a.m. IST.
And now moving on to an Intro to RESTful APIs Part 2 of Alberto's stream. That is going to be happening at 6 p.m. ET and is a great way to get started with using those tools.
Then you'll carry on with Jocelyn, continuing on with another round of Fast API, so might not hurt to check out one or the other stream, make sure you're prepared. But you'll build your own API with Fast API and ngrok for AI and Streamlit. This is a tool and library heavy stream. I'm sure it'll be definitely helpful to give you all sorts of inspiration for any projects you want to make this week and on. It'll be 8 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 a.m. IST.
Cool. And then leading us to another workshop that someone else has already mentioned here, building a Pokédex with Alberto, building this from scratch at 12 a.m. ET tonight, which is 9:30 a.m. IST. It's going to be a fun stream. You should join.
Then we have Aziman taking us on a Tetris mini event. If you are competitive or you just want to get a little bit better at Tetris, join her at 6 a.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. IST for some classic Tetris. Although I'm pretty sure it might be Tetris.io, which is a little less than classic, but it's fun.
And now finally, to end us off here, we have an introduction to clustering algorithms led by Stephen. He's going to be holding that at 9 a.m. ET, which is 6:30 p.m. IST. And this is a great way to get started with machine learning algorithms.
And we'll start off tomorrow with another Today in Global Hack Week, giving you the same overview of what's going on tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 p.m. IST, where Emily and Quinn will take you through day 5.
With any of the projects that you make here, if you'd like to demo at API Week, you can for sure submit your project to mlh.link/globalhackweek demo here.
Excellent. We had a few quick questions, but before that, oh, go ahead. Yeah, we can go. Before we answer those questions, we want to make sure that we have a chance to improve. So go ahead and go to mlhlink/GHW feedback to help us make your Global Hack Week even better. We love hearing this feedback. It helps us better pick what we might be missing from the community as far as technologies. You all are eyes on the ground and hands on the keyboard to tell us, what's the new greatest library that we should be picking up and teaching other people. So go ahead and check out that link. But really quick, we've had a few questions. Which is there a playlist for April 2025's Global Hack Week? And while I would say not yet, I think we're waiting for us to close out the week so we can put it all together all in one go. But you can absolutely check out the past Global Hack Weeks. There are playlists for that. I think it's just an overall grouping of playlists on our YouTube channel. So definitely check that out if you're looking to get past Global Hack Weeks. But otherwise, hold tight. I think everything should be chronologically available for you. Not too hard. Maybe you can make your own playlist as you go through and pick out the ones you want to watch.
Yep. And you can access the past Global Hack Week compilations by going to the homepage of our YouTube channel and then just scrolling down to the Global Hack Week section. There's one for Global Hack Week Cloud up most recently.
And lots of love for Yashka, who already was hosting some mini events. Seems like people really enjoyed her. Mm-hmm. I'm sure she'll bring the same energy to her stream. And Christine, do you mind posting that link for demos in the chat for us?
Yep, on that.
Perfect. And just to make sure folks also have our feedback form, unless you happen to have that off the bat, because I don't.
I can pull that right now.
I just got it. All right. And for feedback, we'd love for you to let us know. Any very quickly last questions, because we have a surprise for you.
Going once. Going twice?
There's a stream delay of like 5 to 10 seconds.
Good to know. Okay.
Yeah, it's not instantaneous. Yeah, so we are speaking from the future, so it takes a bit for folks to respond to us.
That makes sense. Okay. We'll give a little bit more time.
I mean, if we do miss any questions, there is always tomorrow's Today in Global Hack Week. There is the Discord. You can open a ticket or ask in any of the appropriate channels on Discord, and we will make sure that someone gets back to you to make sure that we accommodate you the best we can.
That being said, it does look like we don't have any more questions for today, or for now at least, so we'll hand things off to Ryan.
Alrighty.
Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing? Oh, you're both abandoning me immediately. My chat is going to have to rescue me here instead. How's everyone doing out there? I am going to do a little bonus stream here. I'm going to show off some cool stuff I've been playing around with in Google's AI Studio. Hello, Quackers and Cheese. Great Twitch name, by the way. I love that. Very good taste. Also has very good tasted names, so I'll have to see it. I'm going to go ahead and remove the slides here and then add in my own screen. You can hear me real good. I hope that you're being serious and my mic sounds fine. I'm now nervous that it doesn't sound great. We'll give it a second though. I think I'm going to do a really quick post in Discord for this event as well, just to see if we can get some other folks to come through if they'd like. I won't maybe tag everybody, but I'll do a quick post and then we'll hang in there. So if you're following along with me at home, I'm going to post this link once. We're going to get started in probably 2 or 3 minutes would be my guess. That's perfect sound quality. You'll love to hear it. When you're filling out that Global Hack Week survey that Christine and Cecilia talked about, you got to give Ryan the shout out for the perfect audio. So I'm going to post a real fast announcement. I'm just going to do a hey at here. I'm doing a secret bonus stream right now. You know what I really should do now that I think about this? I'm actually going to have Gemini write my announcement for me. Can you write an announcement for the MLH Discord for me? I am doing a secret bonus stream on Google's AI Studio. We'll see what that gets us. And you came back from YouTube, no interaction over there. That is all done. All good, rather. There's plenty of friends here on Twitch. Totally redo as well, saying I have good audio quality. I love to hear it. I'm glad you all think so. I feel proud of myself for no real good reason here. Right now on TV/MLH. Oh, this went crazy. It gave me a bunch of different options as well with everything here. I like this one. I'm going to use this. Copy. Bam. Awesome. And then I'm just going to insert my Twitch link as well, which I know you can't see this on screen. It's on my second monitor, but we'll do this real fast. /MLH. And we'll send now. We'll go ahead and publish that as well. Why not? Alrighty, friends. A little zoom in would be good. You got it. Ask and you shall receive. No problem whatsoever. I have like a giant monitor in my office and people yell at me to zoom in all the time. So I'm very much used to that one. People asking for the equipment that I'm using. I'm just wearing a pair of Sony, I can never remember the name, XM5s, I think is the model of it. If I remember correctly. Bam, and I'm gonna pop over to my notes here as well. Cool. All right, friends, let's get going here. I'm going to show you a bunch of different stuff I've been playing around with in Google's AI Studio today. If you're following along in chat, you're welcome to do so. You can actually do all these yourself right now for free. I just wanted to show off some of the cool stuff I've been playing around with. I think it'll be useful for hackers. And so I'm going to walk you through a couple of different demos. Here's the goal. Probably like 10 or 15 minutes, just depends on y'all's engagement. And if you want me to do more, I'll hang out for a bit. This is kind of like a little fun break from my normal work for me, so I'm happy to hang out for a little minute. So I'm going to post my link for AI Studio to you all again here. If you do check this out, make sure to use Emily's link since it helps us out. I'm going to pop into the dashboard, which is where you can get new API keys and things like that. They also have a nice little quick start here as well. I'm going to actually run a different version of the quick start. This is a curl request here. I'm actually going to try and do this with Python instead. So I'm going to crack open VS Code, but I want to show you how easy it is to get an API key as well. So I'm going to create a brand new API key for this. I'm going to just make it in this Gemini demos project. I'm going to hit create API key, but I'm going to do that off screen for 1 second so you all don't see my API key. I'm going to copy that, close the window, and then bring this back in for you all. Bam. And so I've got a new API key, and we will do our best to keep that secret throughout the stream. I might actually just remove it at the end of the stream to keep things simple. But we'll go into this API quick reference here. And I'm going to grab just this Python getting started script that they have right here. And I'm going to open up VS Code. I'm going to make a new file. I'm just going to call this like test.py or something like that. Should be fine. And let me close this side window as well. I'll give that a zoom for my friends at home. And I'm going to paste this in. So this is just their quick start, like right from their website. I'm going to paste in my API key directly here. Which bad practice, I would not do this in reality, but I'm going to cycle this API key in a second. So y'all should get your own API keys. I'm just going to go ahead and run this though. I think I have what I need installed already. You might normally need to do some environment setup, but I've done some work with AI Studio already and Google Gemini's APIs. And let's see here. We got an API key not valid. Did I copy the right API key is my first question here. Oh, and it looks like I didn't. I think I added an extra character to it. All right, little user error there. Let's give that one more shot. There you go. And so that actually worked for us. If you can see in my terminal here, we actually got a live response. Let's change what we're asking though. I'm going to ask it, what is Global Hack Week API Week? Something like that. Let's see what we get here. And we're just going to run our Python script again. We should get a response. Cool. And this one gave us a much longer response. Let's make that a little bit bigger and scroll through here. So I can see this is returning like a bunch of markdown here. And it thinks this is for Global Healthcare Week's API focused event. I'll show you in a second how we can turn on some tools that Google has to actually make this a much more accurate response. And so this doesn't look quite right here, but that's okay. We can actually solve that together. So I'm going to swap back over to AI Studio here, and I'm actually going to cycle this API key right now. I'm going to refresh real quick and delete that. I'll make a new one in a second. So I'm going to head back into the studio here, and I'm going to enter in that exact same prompt that I used in VS Code in my actual Python script. So what is Global Hack Week, API Week? And we'll paste this in here. So AI Studio has a bunch of awesome tools on it. I'm going to show you a couple of different chat interactions, which you probably are familiar with already. I'll show you some stuff with streaming real time, and I'll show you a bunch of different things with all the different settings you have on the right-hand side here. We're going to start with this, what is Global Hack Week API Week question. Let's try running this again in the browser. And we might actually get a different response here than we did in command line because it's using a different model. Here we're using the Pro Preview, and then in our quick start here, we're using 2.0 Flash. So let's see what this gets us. And so this does get us a much better answer already, just because it's on that newer model. It thought about its answer a little bit here. We can kind of click in and see that. But we're going to minimize this. So it gives us what the description of the event is, gives us some different activities. Let's see if we can ask it when Global Hack Week is. When is Global Hack Week? API Week. Let's see what that gets us. It's going to think again. Is the API for free? Great question in chat there. So the API currently has really, really generous free usage. You can go on their API documentation in here somewhere and pricing. And sorry, I know this is probably not zoomed in nearly enough for everybody at home. But if you go to this page here, you can see some of the stuff on the free tier. I'll paste this in for you as well. So let's get back to our little experiment here. So finding the exact date requires checking the official website is kind of the response we get here. It does link us to the website, which is really helpful. But I'm going to turn on one tool, and hopefully that's going to get us the actual answer I'm looking for here. So I'm going to turn on this feature called grounding with Google search. And I'm just going to do this in this side panel. There's lots of different settings that we can tweak when we're using these models. All I'm going to turn on is this one toggle here, grounding with Google search. This is my favorite feature in the Gemini API right now. And I'm going to paste this in, and we're going to give it one more shot and see if it can get us the exact date of the event. What this is going to do is it's going to give the Gemini API access to a tool that lets it actually query real search results and then look up more relevant information. If I hover over the model that we're using, it's going to be hard to do, but in the bottom left-hand corner of that window that just popped up, you can see it says the knowledge cutoff was in January of 2025. And so for API week, we didn't have the dates published yet when this model was trained. But hopefully when it uses these search results, and there you go. So it's scheduled for April 11th to 17th, and it actually gives us links to the websites that use as sources on this as well, which is really cool to me. Lots of cool stuff you can do with this. Another nice thing about AI Studio in particular is you can just hit get code here, and you can actually, so that quick start I used in VS Code, right here, you can actually get code to do the same thing with the settings that you're using on the right-hand side. So if I come down in here and look at tools specifically, this is the code you need to enable that feature that I toggled, and it's going to be included by default because it's generating code for the actual response and chat conversation you just had. You can also do this toggle to turn on prompt history. So if you wanted to include the actual question you asked it and how it responded, it'll give you all this stuff as well, which is quite nice. So I'm going to turn this off though. I'm going to close out of this. Let's see if we can just really quickly add this tools piece to our existing request. So model contents. So I'm going to reset a little bit here. I'm going to grab maybe all of this. I don't think I need the generate content piece. I'm cheating a little bit here. I'm moving fast. We'll see if I get punished for it. Great. We're going to hit save on this, and we're just going to try when is GHW API week. And I need a new API key as well because I killed mine. So let's do that real fast. And I'm just going to cycle this right after as well. And let's see if this one works for us. I was pretty lazy with copying in this new code, so I wouldn't be surprised if we have a mistake here, but we'll give it a shot. And if perhaps I forgot a comma, yeah, that maybe makes sense. Although I don't think that's quite right either. Let me slow down here and go back to our studio. We're going to go back to our prompt. And let's take a look at that code again. Cool. So actually, let's just copy this whole thing now that I think about it. We'll do like this. We'll just reset here. We're going to come in here and snag this. We'll put in our new API key. We're going to cheat a little bit here. Apologies if I'm going fast. We're just going to make that like that. And then here we're going to put in when is Global Hack Week, API week. Cool. Let's see if that one runs for us. That already looks a lot better. That's why you don't cut corners, but we'll give it a second to think. Probably 10 or 15 seconds to actually query those results and everything. And we'll see if we get a response. Cool. So here we actually didn't get the same response, which is totally fine. And we're going to get some variance here. I think we still have that same tool enabled, right? Or do we not? Oh no, it doesn't actually look like we have the tool enabled here. Okay. So let's try this one more time. Let's grab our code again. And now I probably can be lazy and just copy this in. So that's going to be right after contents. We're going to paste this in, get rid of that extra space, save that. Let's give it one more shot here. And we'll give this a second to think. So one of my favorite additional components of using this grounding with Google search feature, and here we go, Network API Week. Okay, so this gave us a different event that also uses GHW. So we can keep working on this by using Global Hack Week is maybe going to be another way to specify this. We can also modify our code to give us different answers or give us a couple of different options, things like that. One nice step for this as a follow-up here is like you could actually ask it to look at like a dev post page or look at the sponsors who are active at a hackathon and generate some ideas for projects from there. I was playing around with this at BitCamp last weekend. So that could be a cool idea for folks at home if you want like a project generator or something like that. Let's give this one more shot with the full name, Global Hack Week, and see where that gets us. See if we can get it in command line here as well. Or I guess PowerShell in this case. Give it a second to think here. And then there we go. And so this still didn't give us the exact right answer that we're looking for. This gave us 2023. That is A-okay though. We will jump into our next demo here. So we got our correct response inline in AI Studio. The next one I'm going to jump to is doing a little bit of image generation. So let's see here. I'm going to come into this settings area here and switch over to a model that has image generation built in. So we're going to switch to this Flash image generation. Do I have anyone in chat who has anything they want to generate with an image, or generate an image of rather? I was going to do like a slide or something if we don't have any ideas from chat, but I'll give you all a second to catch up with me. I'm not seeing anything immediately, so I'm going to do I'm at Global Hack Week. I'm doing an impromptu demo of some AI Studio features. Oh, I'm going to avoid doing Sabrina Carpenter as a Barbie doll, but I do like the suggestion. I want to avoid using real people's likelinesses here. So I'm going to say I'm doing an impromptu demo of some AI Studio features. Can you generate an intro slide that has intro to Google's AI Studio on it? And my name, Ryan Swift. Let's see what that gets us. And while that happens, I'm going to go remember to get rid of that API key I was using as well, just to be on the safe side there. Well, that's definitely not me, but I do like that it included all the text we asked for there, and very quick response too as well, which is awesome. And yes, thank you for the reminder about the stream delay. I always forget that. Cool, so we did a little image generation here. You can keep playing around with this. Like you can ask it to add additional things. You can say something like remove the image of the person from this and see what that does. Oh, and it got rid of a little bit more than we wanted there. So it got rid of our title and our name. You can also feed it stuff that you want it to include. Like you can include like, oh, here's like our event logo. And can you add this to it as well? So the next one I'm going to show you, has anyone here done any web scraping before for a hackathon project? I have to imagine folks have done that once or twice. And we're going to close out a couple tabs there. And we'll pop into Stream. So Google AI Studio has this feature called Stream Real Time, or you might see it referred to as Live Multimodal. One of my favorite features right now as well, right up there with grounding with Google search. What this is going to allow us to do is actually share our screen with Google Gemini. You can also share your webcam, so you can like show it objects in real life. You can also talk to it as well. I'm going to do a text-based conversation today because I'm doing a live stream, and so it's going to get confused with if I'm talking to you or if I'm talking to the model. So I'm going to turn off recording here in a second. I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to share just one Chrome tab here. So I'm going to share the Major League Hacking event schedule. So I'm going to hit share. I'm going to stop recording there so that it doesn't pick up my microphone. And then I'm going to ask it, can you scrape the event data off this website for me? And we're just going to hit enter. And right away, it starts pulling in that information for us. This is super handy if you've ever had to do a scraping project before. Obviously, if you're doing like much more robust scraping, it probably makes sense to use one of the various libraries out here. But if you just need to grab some data pretty quickly, this can be a nice tool. One thing I want to show you is there's two more events that weren't on screen. If I scroll down a little bit here, can I say there are now two more events added? can you add those to your list? And let's see it add those as well here. Great. And so it's going through and adding those ones for us as well. And I can see our last event is Hack Puebla. So let's return this as actual structured data. So can you return that as JSON? And again, it should give us a nice little blob here, which is great to see. And we can ask for this in any other format as well, if you wanted a CSV or anything like that as well. I'm going to download this and save it. So it's listed as code 7 here in my machine. I'm going to swap over back to our chat interface here. And we're going to do, yes, exactly. It sees the screen and then it can read the content off of it. Yep. So that's exactly how I got that JSON blob. I shared that screen and then was asking Gemini to pull the data from it. So like you could also do this with the challenges as an example. So let's go to globalhackweek.mlh.io. We'll click into challenges here, right? And so if we give it this page, so let's try that one. That's a great one to do. So let me turn the comment off so y'all can see what I'm up to. And hit share my screen. I'm going to do a Chrome tab, and I'm going to select that Global Hack Week Challenges tab. Just going to turn off the microphone recording here, and I'm going to say, doesn't want to let me type. Can you return these challenges as a CSV? Something like that. That seems overpowered. It's a very nice feature. A great question in chat as well, by the way. How does the temperature affect the output? Would it make sense to set it to 0 to have a deterministic output? So for this particular use case, you can't set a temperature while you're in the stream real time mode. So I don't actually know if you did this over like API, like if you set up a service that did something similar, like the API has access to all these same features. That's a great question though, and definitely something that you could explore on your own as well. So, all right, so we're gonna pop back to our chat though here. Good questions there. So I'm gonna actually upload from my computer here that JSON that we created. And I'm going to say, and I'm actually going to realize that I'm in the wrong model. I'm going to switch back to 2.5 Pro. And I'm going to turn on something called code execution, which is another tool I've been enjoying quite a bit. What this does is it actually lets Gemini run Python code in browser, in the chat, to solve problems and kind of work with you. And it can actually see its own results, debug its own code, and then make updates as well. The example I have here is probably going to be pretty simple. It's probably going to one-shot this for us, but let's give it a shot anyway here. So I'm going to say, like, using code execution, can you make a chart of these hackathons based on their locations? And let's see what that gets us. So we'll play around with it together. So it's going to take a minute to think through all this. I'll take a sip of water in the meantime. Cool. So because this is a thinking model, we can actually like watch it go through its plan here, which can be really useful. In this case, we're probably just going to watch its output though. Cool. So it generated a bunch of code here. So this is real Python code that it's running in browser. So it's importing pandas, it's using matplotlib, and it's going to load in the data that I provided it. Cool. So then it's going to set some settings for our actual plot here. And then here's the result of that code execution as well. And so now it has that chart for us. So there's immediately some things that we can improve here. And I don't think it likes that I'm zoomed in. Let me reset this. So this is the chart that it generated for us. There's some things that I want to improve right away. I've never been to like 0.25 of a hackathon. I think we'll do like whole numbers here on the side. And then one other thing I'm realizing, like this is sorting these by city and state or like location and region. Let's maybe group this by country. I'm just scanning along here. And then maybe we'll further subdivide the US as well after that. But let's take a look at that first. I'm going to say, can you make the numbers on the y-axis whole numbers? Can you group the locations by country? And let's try that. So one thing you could ask here is like, okay, everywhere online is what we use for our digital events. How is Gemini going to handle that for me asking to sort by country? I think there's a couple of different things that could happen here. It might ignore those altogether. I hope that it's smart enough to infer that I want it to include those as their own category, but let's find out here. So we'll give it some time to think. Cool. And it actually mentioned everywhere online there, which is awesome. So to their countries, and they'll handle everywhere online cases separately. You'll love to see that. Cool. So it has some code here to try to figure out what city and state they're from. This is not the most elegant way of doing that, but we'll allow it. So it actually ran into an issue with its code execution. Cool. So now it just needs to re-include the data. It figured that out on its own. Cool. And then here's our breakdown again. And this already looks like a much nicer chart, right? And again, the zooming is going to mess up our view a little bit there. So if I reset that, here's our projects, or our hackathons rather, broken down by country. Do we want to try and break down the US stuff into like regions though, maybe? How's that sound to my audience? And I'm saying, I want to try and do this as like, I want to be a little obtuse and see how Gemini handles that. So I'm going to say something like, can you break the USA events down by region? I'm going to say it by broad region. Let's see how it handles that. All of our streams are available on YouTube. Yes. So you can actually view this live on YouTube right now, and then the recording will be up right away as well. Cool. So we'll let this think for a second. I'm curious to see if this breaks them down by states or if it kind of figures out, oh, perfect, it did exactly what I wanted. So West Coast versus East Coast is what I was hoping it would do. Something like that at the very least. Cool, and let's take another look. Okay, and so it went a little off track here. And it actually realizes it made a mistake, which is awesome. So let's see if it corrects itself and gets there. Cool, and so it did another round. And it still is misclassifying some of our events though. So one nice thing that you can do in Gemini's, or rather in Google's AI Studio, is you can actually come back to a previous point in the conversation. So we can come back all the way up here and we can return to this point in the conversation. So we can like branch from here. So let's do that. Cool, and then we're now back to where we were, right? So we had a bunch of context that probably would have confused our model. And now we can kind of reset back to where we were. And here, what I'm gonna be a little bit more specific this time. I'm gonna say leave everything as is, but let's further break down the USA events into broad regions like West, East, and West Coast, Midwest, South, etc. Let's see if that helps it out, giving it a little bit more specific instruction. And if you all have any questions, get them ready here. I'm going to do one more example, but it'll take about 2 minutes to run that last example. So I'm happy to take any questions you have during that time, and then I will wrap it up. Cool. So it's thinking for us here, and bam. So that looks a lot better to me. And that's kind of the exact results I was hoping for, right? And let me zoom this back out again for everyone at home. So here I can see that this now handles those different regions. It has our online global, and like this chart looks pretty good. I think this is what I was hoping for. And obviously this is only with 10 or 20 events, but you can do a lot of cool stuff with this. It also is nice to see it like iteratively work through its own code and address mistakes and things like that as well. So the last little feature I wanted to show, just while I answer any questions you all have, I'm going to give the chat here a full 40-minute YouTube video. So this is from our annual hackathon organizing conference. This is actually by Cecilia, who is on stream a couple of minutes ago. I'm going to include this YouTube URL. And so this is a 40-minute YouTube video. I'm going to hit add to prompt. And so this is a whopping almost 700,000 tokens. One of the really nice things about Gemini's models is they have this huge token limitation. It's 1 million tokens for most models. It's 2 million for a couple of them. So what I'm going to ask it to do here is actually break down this workshop for me. It's 40 minutes long. I'm going to ask it to maybe summarize the whole thing and include timestamps to the most relevant parts or something like that. And I've done similar ones before, so let's give this a shot. We're going to say, review this video and provide a 2-sentence summary of what's covered. Also give me a bulleted list with linked timestamps. And let me zoom this back in. I'm realizing I didn't for y'all. So review this video, provide a 2-sentence summary of what's covered. Also give me a bulleted list with linked timestamps for key moments in the talk, something like that. This one's going to take a minute to run. So while that does that, I will answer any questions that we have in the chat as well. And yeah, this is another great example from Florian here as well. Assigning a role usually helps with better output, like behave as an expert software engineer or something like that. One of the nice things, let me actually open up a new window so we don't mess this up here. Let me see if I can find this. So they have this little system instructions piece up top. So for Florian's comment, you could put your role up here. So you are an expert Python developer or something like that. And this is a good spot for those types of system prompts or roles. That's a great call out. Could you explain the code part Google AI Studio generates mean? Yeah, so there's a couple of different things here. So let me pull back up our hackathon's locations chart as an example. So I was using code execution when I did this section. So code execution is Gemini will generate code and then write that code and give you results, right? So you can think about if you have any, I always think of sort of data science-y style prompts where it's hey, I have a couple of different CSVs, or I have maybe some things that I want to make some simple charts from. And that's what I find it to be most helpful for right now. So it'll actually write code itself and execute it in line. And then if mistakes happen, it'll iterate on that code, right? And so you saw this when I was going through this example here with the bar chart. And we actually branched this off right here. So this is our finalized version of it. Cool. So this is one example of code that Gemini generates here. The other is this get code button. And actually, I think that's going to be easier to show you for maybe Global Hack Week, API Week explained. So this get code button is if you want to take this prompt that you've been playing around with and working on, and you want to run it on your own inside of VS Code or inside of your application that you're doing, if you want to take this to your application itself. So here, if you copy this, this is going to be all the code you need in a couple of different languages, so Python, Node.js, AppScript. You can actually run this in whatever other tool you like and bring Gemini's APIs and functionality into what you're doing. I really like this for giving you some of the, giving you basically a head start on getting going. So I might do my initial prompting here and then bring that over to wherever I'm building the rest of my application. Great question. Let's check in on our little chat. Uh-oh, we had an internal server error. Let's give it one more shot here and see if we can get it to run. Can I restart this? Does not look like it. Rerun this, see if that works. And we'll see if it goes. Great question, though, yeah. If we hit another server error, we will call it there, but we'll give it one more shot and see if we can get it to go for us. This one takes a minute, so if you all have other questions related to Global Hack Week or anything else, I'm happy to take them in the meantime. Let me see if there's anything else as well that I want to show off. I think that kind of hits the big ones I wanted to do today. We'll give this, usually this is going to take about a minute to run, and then a minute to start running, I think is the way I would describe this, where it does this little thinking phase, loads in all of that context. We'll give it a minute and find out. We'll hover over here and make sure we keep an eye on it. No, we ran into our error again. That's a shame. Let me actually pop into my history and see if I have an example of this one, just to show you all. Um, so video summary from 2 days ago. Perfect. So here you can see the exact same example. So give me a summary of this video. Also include a set of linked timestamps for key moments during the talk. Key moments during the talk. It took a couple of minutes to think, and then it gave us this summary here. So a little bit wordier on the summary, and it actually includes links to key timestamps and key moments in that conversation as well. So I don't know what's going on with the server error right now. Probably just lots of people using it would be my assumption there. Maybe a little bit slower for some reason, but you can see kind of the expected output we have here. This is very cool for like doing some like research type stuff. Like I really like the idea of running like 10 or 15 different videos through this and then bubbling up kind of the top top pieces from all of those. What happens when you exceed the token limit? Does it cut off the beginning of the prompt? So I actually don't know the answer to that one either. That's a great question. I think it's probably different in AI Studio than it is when you're working on the API, like working directly with it. But you probably should take a look at their documentation, and I bet you there's going to be an answer to that. I actually haven't run into that. We're on a special account that has access to some other things, and so I have not actually run into the token limit myself for some of these prompts. But my other recommendation there would be if you pop into this little view here, you can see the token limitations for each of the models. Some of the models I think have like a 2 million token limit. I'm trying to see if it's listed in here for any of these. These are by context links. I bet you it's in their documentation. Let's go to that and find it there. Rate limits, perhaps. So tokens is tokens per minute, I think. Yeah, tokens per minute here. So yeah, so Gemini 2.0 Flash, which is a great model as well, has a 4 million token limit on the tier 1. On free, I think it's only 1 million, but that's still quite a bit. So you can get a lot done with that before you run into any sort of limitations. Alrighty. So that is all the demos I wanted to show off here. I'll make one last call if anyone has any questions. And then other than that, I will leave you all to it. And I hope you all have a great rest of your Global Hack Week. And you know what? What the hell? We'll do a raffle here at the end as well. Now that I think about this. Is there an easy way for me to grab my chat? Yeah. So what I'm doing here on my screen that you can't see is grabbing the chat history. And we'll try this. I didn't plan this one, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to say below is the chat history from my stream. Can you, I'm going to say for each message sent, give people one entry to a raffle, select one winner from the chat. Let's see how this handles it. And we got a little warning here. What's this? Can't open links, that's fine. And let me jump down to you all. We'll give this a second to think. All I did was just post in our messages from Bam. And hello, pal, are you in here with us? If they're not here, we'll give it to somebody else. Also, it doesn't look like it copied everything to me. But I will give hello, pal a second. I'll give them a raffle. Just as a trivial way to give it out here. So. I gotta wait for the delay. Hello, pal, if you're with us, say so now. You're gonna lose your raffle. All right, let's do pick a different winner. Let's see if we can get a different winner off this. It's thinking, it's thinking. All right, totally redo. I know you've been active in here. Did you drop off those, the fear? Do I still have you totally redo? I think it only copied the chat history from earlier for what it's worth, but That's totally fine. I don't think I'd totally redo either, unfortunately. What a disaster here, friends. Let's say, okay. All right. Is there a restriction to the code execution? Yes, there is a restriction to the code execution. There's only certain libraries that are enabled for it, and you can't install new ones. If you go on their documentation page, they have a list of all the packages, but it's a lot of like what I think of as like really baseline, iconic Python packages, like matplotlib is in there, which is what we were using earlier. It's a lot of like the base kind of data science-y things is what I think of them as, which is maybe I don't think that you could get away with this, but explore at your own risk here is what we'll say. All right, so I think Florian has had some really good, insightful questions here. So Florian, I'm going to give you a swag drop as how we're going to do this, since my novel way of giving this out didn't work very well. Take a screenshot of this and then head over to Discord, open up a ticket with our team, and you can snag yourself a swag drop or surprise prize, as they're called these days. You get some swag from the MLH team as a thank you for being active in chat. I had one other chatter that was very active as well. Very good taste as well. You had a couple of good comments. You can do the same thing. Grab a screenshot here and post a Discord ticket, and we'll get you a surprise prize too. That sound good, Deborah? Cool. All right, friends, I'm going to wrap it up there. I will maybe stick around and chat for a few seconds more, but I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and doing a couple of quick demos in Google's AI Studio. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in Discord or email our team. And outside of that, I hope everyone has an awesome rest of their Global Hack Week. Happy hacking. See you, everyone.